You've started noticing things that others miss. A shift in the air when someone walks into a room. A heaviness in places that used to feel fine. A sudden aversion to small talk or crowded places. You're not becoming antisocial. You're becoming attuned. This sensitivity isn't weakness. It's intelligence, the kind that speaks through intuition, gut feelings, and energetic awareness. You feel more, yes, but not to your detriment. Something in you has sharpened. You're absorbing less of what drains you and becoming more aware of what truly resonates. Carl Jung spoke often of the unconscious, the invisible layer of the psyche that holds the truth of who we are. As we begin to align with that deeper truth, our energy shifts, not in some abstract or mystical way, but in a lived, grounded experience. What once felt comfortable may now feel foreign. What once felt tolerable may now feel unbearable. That's not regression, it's evolution. In this video, we'll explore the signs you're operating at a higher frequency, not just spiritually, but psychologically and energetically. Because when you raise your vibration, your life doesn't just look different, it feels different. And that feeling? It's the sound of your soul coming into resonance with its true tone. Let's go deeper. What do we really mean by higher frequency? In popular spiritual language, it's often used to describe a state of positivity or good vibes. But Carl Jung would offer us something more nuanced. He didn't use the phrase high frequency directly, but he explored its essence through the lens of psychic energy. Jung believed we each carry an energetic charge, what he called libido, not just in the sexual sense, but as the total psychic energy of the individual. When our inner life is fragmented or repressed, this energy becomes blocked or distorted. But when we begin to integrate what's unconscious, our shadow, our complexes, our buried truths, that energy starts to flow more freely. We feel clearer, lighter, more awake. This is what many refer to as a frequency shift. At the core of Jung's work was individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole. That means aligning your conscious self with the deeper truths within you. And the more integrated you become, the more your inner world emits a refined signal, one that draws in different people, different experiences, and a different quality of life. Raising your frequency isn't about ascending out of reality. It's about descending more fully into your truth. So how do you know it's happening? Let's explore the signs your soul is tuning itself to a higher rhythm. Sign number 1. You feel more but react less. Someone criticizes you, not gently, not constructively. In the past, you might have snapped back or shrunk down, but this time, something different happens. You pause. The words land, but they don't sink. You feel them pass through your chest like wind through an open window. The pain is there, yes, but it doesn't consume you. You feel more, but react less. Carl Jung often said that what triggers us is rarely about the present. The heat of emotion, he believed, often rises from the unconscious, from wounds, fears, memories we haven't yet faced. When those parts are left in the dark, they erupt in our reactions. But when we bring them to light, when we meet our shadow with compassion, we change. Emotional alchemy begins. The trigger still knocks, but it no longer has the key. This is what happens when your frequency rises. You don't become emotionless, you become spacious. You're able to hold anger without becoming cruel. You can sit with sadness without collapsing. Your nervous system begins to harmonize with your inner truth. It's not that life becomes easier. It's that you no longer resist its rhythm. Where once a ghosted text sent you spiraling, now you acknowledge the sting. Trace its echo back to an old wound and let it go. You stop taking things so personally, not because you've hardened, but because you've softened into self-trust. You can tell what energy is yours and what belongs to someone else. You no longer feel the need to fix, prove, or chase. This is a hallmark of high frequency, not just the ability to feel deeply, but the ability to respond consciously. You're not avoiding discomfort, you're moving through it with grace. You've shifted from survival to awareness, from reaction to choice. You've stopped being the storm and become the sky. So when the next wave comes, you'll notice it, you'll feel it, but you won't drown in it, because now you remember you're the ocean. Sign number 2, you begin releasing what drains you. As you begin to feel more but react less, something else starts to shift too. Your tolerance for what no longer nourishes you begins to fade. At first, it's subtle. You notice certain conversations leave you feeling strangely tired. Music you once loved now grates on your nerves. The friend who always made everything about them suddenly feels heavy. Not wrong, not bad, just misaligned. Jung believed that everything we surround ourselves with impacts our psychic state. He spoke often of psychic hygiene. Just like the body needs care, the psyche needs boundaries. And as your frequency rises, your system becomes more refined. You're not forcing yourself to cut people off or change habits out of discipline. Your soul simply no longer resonates with what drains it. Your energy starts to self-protect without the old drama. You might find yourself turning off a show halfway through because it's too chaotic. You might stop replying to someone not out of pettiness, but peace. Loud places begin to feel like static. Gossip sounds like noise. Even foods, routines, or scrolling habits shift. It's not a punishment or an ego trip, it's alignment. Carl Jung said that individuation, the path to becoming whole, involves deep inner listening. And this kind of discernment is your energy listening for what truly feeds it. When you're operating at a higher frequency, you stop entertaining what asks you to betray your own nervous system. You're no longer willing to pay the energetic price for fitting in, for pleasing, for tolerating what dims your light. And yet, you don't judge what you walk away from, you just know it no longer fits. What once felt like a home might now feel like a weight, and that's okay. As your vibration rises, it gently clears the path in front of you. People, patterns, and environments that aren't in harmony with your becoming will naturally fall away, not with resentment, but with relief. This is the second sign. Your life begins to simplify not by force, but by resonance. What stays is what sings in tune with your soul. What leaves is what your higher self no longer agrees to carry. You are not losing anything. You are remembering what you're made of. Sign number 3, you're drawn to create, not just consume. As you begin releasing what drains you, you'll notice something beautiful taking its place. A pull not toward more input but output. Where once you sought comfort in scrolling, in consuming, in filling empty space with other people's voices, now you feel an itch in your soul, an urge to speak, to shape, to move energy from within you into the world. It's not about being productive. It's not about achievement. It's about expression. Carl Jung saw creativity not as a hobby, but as a function of the self, the archetype of totality, of wholeness. When you begin to align with your deeper self, creation is no longer optional. Your inner life starts to overflow, and that overflow demands form. Maybe you start journaling again, not to solve anything, but just to witness yourself. Maybe you sing while washing dishes. Maybe your hands ache to paint, to build, to write, even if no one else ever sees it. This shift is a sign that your energy is now self-generating, no longer dependent on external stimulation to feel alive. Creation becomes a form of integration. When you operate at a higher frequency, you no longer consume to escape. You create to embody. You might still enjoy a good movie or a beautiful song, but now they ignite something in you rather than numb you. You feel inspired instead of distracted. Jung would say that this is the unconscious seeking expression, seeking wholeness through symbol, story, art, and voice. It doesn't matter if what you create is good. That's not the point. The point is that your inner being is alive, awake, and trying to speak. And you're listening. You're showing up. You're letting what's inside come forward. This is the third sign. You no longer seek to fill yourself from the outside. You recognize that what's inside you is sacred, and it wants to move. You're not becoming a creator in the traditional sense. You're becoming a vessel for your own energy, your own wisdom, your own becoming. And the more you honor that impulse, the more aligned your path becomes. Creation isn't the end goal. It's the language of your frequency. And it's finally speaking. Sign number 4. You feel connected even when alone. As you begin creating more and consuming less, something quiet but powerful unfolds inside you. Your relationship with solitude changes. You no longer fear being alone. In fact, you crave it, not out of isolation or disconnection, but because solitude becomes a sacred space, a meeting place between you and something deeper. Where once silence felt empty, now it feels full. Where once you needed others to reflect your worth, now you feel it echoing from within. Carl Jung often spoke of the self as the central archetype of wholeness, a kind of inner divinity we connect to when all the outer distractions fall away. At higher frequencies, you begin to live from that center. And when you do, you realize that connection isn't something you chase. It's something you are. You sit by yourself and feel accompanied. You walk alone and feel held. You stop checking your phone for messages that never fill the ache, because the ache is gone. You're no longer seeking constant external confirmation that you exist, that you matter. You know it, you feel it, you are it. And from that knowing, solitude becomes communion. You might sit in your room in silence and feel a peace that can't be explained. You might lie awake at night and feel your ancestors, your soul, the whole universe whispering softly back to you. This is not the loneliness that comes from lack. It's the stillness that arises when the noise has cleared. The attention, the applause, the distractions, they no longer feed you. What does feed you now is presence. Stillness, meaning, the subtle pulse of your own soul remembering itself. Jung believed that the more individuated we become, the less we rely on the collective for identity, and the more we trust our own inner voice, our own path. This is that moment, the fourth sign. When being alone doesn't scare you or sadden you, it nourishes you, because now you know you are not alone. You are accompanied by the self, the soul, and something greater that moves through all things. In this sacred space, you belong to yourself, and that is everything. So you felt it, that quiet shift within, the way solitude no longer stings but soothes, the way your own presence has become enough. Now let's ground that awareness. Close your eyes, just for a moment. Feel into your body, not with judgment, but with curiosity. Ask gently, what am I still holding that no longer matches my frequency? And then ask, what's trying to rise through me? What truth? What creation? What purpose? Don't rush the answers. They'll come in feelings, images, memories. As you breathe, remember, energy doesn't lie. The shifts you're feeling aren't wishful thinking. They're invitations to live more fully in alignment. Tonight, if it feels right, light a candle or write a few quiet words in a journal. Not about what you need to fix, but what no longer belongs. Let it be a ritual of release, a moment of honoring how far you've come. This is integration. This is you rising. You're not becoming strange, you're becoming sovereign. The dissonance you feel with certain people, spaces, or stories isn't dysfunction. It's evolution. The quiet, the cravings, the boundaries, they're not mood swings. They are soul signals. You've recalibrated, and now life is matching your new vibration. Carl Jung said the psyche will lead us to wholeness if we allow it. That's what you're doing, following the whisper of your own becoming. And yes, it may feel lonely at times, but it's a sacred kind of solitude, the kind that births truth. Trust it. You're not losing your place in the world. You're finally taking your true one. Stay steady. Stay open. You're not ascending away from life. You're grounding into it as your most authentic self. This is Echoes of Psyche, where the soul remembers what the mind forgot.